Day 11, Justice Code Challenge. How you feeling? Let me know in the comments how this has been going for you. What has been a new understanding or what has confirmed your understanding? I'd love to hear from you and to exchange insights and uh, do a little discourse with you. So I'm welcoming your comments and love the conversations that are continuing beyond the post concerning this precious law and the cheat codes to the legal system and to the governmental operation of men and women of faith who are called to establish the king's throne on earth as it is in heaven. Proverbs 16:11 reads, "A just weight and balance are the most high's, and the weights of the bag are his work." This proverb is one of the ones that the proverbs refer to themselves sometimes as dark sentences, the type of language that's not as obvious when you first read it. And these dark sentences, these are the types of things that the Most High wants us to press in. He wants us to meditate on. He wants us to knock on his door and ask him questions. What does that mean, Father? What do you mean when you say that? I get part of it where I'm seeing, like, we often see the scales of justice as depictions of the justice system, or whenever we think of law and justice, we think of those scales, and that is a part of the illustration, or a part of the imagery here. But then he goes on warning you in this situation to ask of him and inquire of him, what does that mean? I know this is about justice. So let's see what the Father has said. This proverb is simply a reminder of who is the one that holds the scales. It is a reminder that a lot of times injustice prevails because there's a court of public opinion. You hear one side of the story and then you make a conclusion before you've weighed the entire matter. And it is just, it is right, the it is the righteous way to first balance all of the evidence, because this is where Yah does his work. This is how Yah makes a wrong right. This is his heart's desire, because he knows that we need justice. He knows that we are sinful, we are selfish, we are prideful, and in our selfishness and in our pride, we do things to one another that appear to be wrong. And sometimes when you examine the other side, you determine that even in our wrongdoing, we did not mean harm. One of my favorite examples of this is the biblical law concerning manslaughter. Manslaughter is simply a word that describes an accidental death. So, under the biblical law, if a man hates his neighbor and hates him to the point where he plans on killing that man, his life is required of him as his judgment for murder. But if a man who is cutting a tree and the axe head flies off from the axe handle and that axe kills his neighbor, this is an accidental death or a manslaughter, which means that although he killed his neighbor, his life will not be required of him because of his intention. So the bag that is being weighed by the Most High is not just the act itself, but it's the motive or the intention. And this very same weighing of intention has been codified in the American justice system. The criminal code itself codifies the exact same distinction between what we call first degree murder in many jurisdictions and manslaughter, because there has to be a weighing of the bag. It's not enough that you did it wrong or you did something wrong. Were you negligent? Were you reckless? Was this purely an accident? So that when you are judged for the wrong that you did against another person, the judgment is not too harsh when your heart is taken into consideration. I pray that this blesses and encourages you. I am so looking forward to seeing you again for the very next day of the challenge. Be blessed and encouraged.